I am Sarah Mardell, I'm the head teacher at West Stirling Infant and Nursery School. We have children from 2 to 7 and lots of staff, probably about 55 staff.
My experience of coaching has been out of class time to really step back and think and reflect upon my practice at that time.
I found coaching to be different to other CPD because when I've been on courses, although really helpful, a lot of it is you're being taught to, and whereas coaching, it's really much a two-way process.
It really helped me to be more proactive with things that were bothering me or things that I needed to do. It just gave me the tools and the skills to then do them.
It's absolutely critical to invest in your staff and to allow them to have the time and the space.
It made me think what my strengths were. It made me think about what I was good at, and it enabled me to build on that place of strength.
Some of the sessions I used to think about individual children. I also used some of the sessions to think about how I manage staff. To have the sessions over a number of weeks enabled me to see the changes that were taking place within those members of staff and helped me to think about how I could best support them.
By having the coaching and talking through and having a clear strategy of how I was then going to have those difficult conversations, I found incredibly useful.
I'd absolutely encourage other schools to go for it, and I'd certainly encourage them to see coaching as not just something that's for teachers.
One of the most memorable coaching sessions for me was we had been talking a lot through various different coaching sessions before and kind of going round in circles and sometimes not really feeling like we were getting anywhere, but I think we needed to go through that process to kind of finally hit that goal in one of the sessions where, after talking about it for so long and kind of going through different avenues, it finally kind of clicked in my head, and I came to the kind of natural conclusion more organically with Mary Jo, and it had been there the whole time, but just having that kind of time to really think about it and get to the answer for myself rather than being told openly, well, this is what you need to do.
So my experience of coaching, I was exceptionally anxious to start with, and the head teacher physically had to push me in the door. I find one-to-one conversations quite awkward and quite difficult, and was a little bit apprehensive around what coaching would look like for me and what it would mean and what I would need to bring to the room. I'd absolutely encourage other schools to go for it. And I'd certainly encourage them to see coaching as not just something that's for teachers. So I think I have a slight teaching role in school, but mine isn't. I am not a teacher. It isn't something I aspire to be. I have a very different role in school. But I think coaching really valued that there are other areas of school and that those staff are also leading and managing, perhaps in different ways and in different dimensions, but actually that what they bring to school is just as valuable as teaching and learning. So actually, I would say to other schools, yes, it's hugely important for teachers, but think of other staff that are perhaps leading those other departments and what support do they need to enable them to support teachers and other leaders to be the best that they can be.
There is an incredible amount of talent and experience within there, so we weren't looking to bring in helicoptering experts from elsewhere.
Some advice I'd give to a MAT looking to establish coaching in their school would be, I suppose, to think very carefully about how it's presented.
The coaching process felt really alien to begin with, and I went initially looking for answers and I wasn't given them, and that felt quite frustrating.
Teachers particularly are not very good at admitting when they're finding things really difficult, and I think that's more so if it's someone that you're working with already.
I think it will work better across the MAT because you don't have those preconceived ideas of another member of staff.
They talk very highly of having time to consider their practice.
People assume that that's going to be a really quick process, and it's not. It's going to take time to develop that self-awareness and that confidence in somebody. So the greatest challenge, I think, implementing a peer coaching programme is that it's about then that dialogue with SLT and how that's going to look across the mat.
Whatever type of school you're in, if you're going to free people up, if you're going to invest in their time, that comes with it practical issues.
You don't always know what the answer is going to be in coaching until you've gone through the process.
It will support retention within schools. If colleagues feel valued and feel they're doing a good job and they feel they're being looked after and they've got something to offer, well, why not stay in that environment?
Supervisory sessions bring an awareness to me in particular about my whole coaching process.
I think one of the things that stands out for me is whenever we have a supervisory session, I think we always reflect on that afterwards and go like, you know, my mind's I can't wait to get back into coaching again.
It's a really useful opportunity, and I think that helps me reflect on my coaching process to actually ensure that when I'm then coaching, I'm applying some of the things I've spoken about, learnt about, and my awareness of that process has a positive impact on my coaching.
If anyone is thinking about having coaching, absolutely do it. It's something that's really changed my practice.
It's not what you expect it to be, it's not what I thought it was going to be, and it's not counselling, which is what the general feeling seems to be.
I think it's improved me even within a short space of time. It's made me more excited to come to work, it's made me more excited in the classroom, and that's had a knock-on impact with the children as well.
Really good chance to reflect on what you've done, how you want to move forward and what you want to change.
Really empowering to see staff sort of beating a path to kind of find solutions, do things differently, work out new ways of doing things within the context.
I knew that last year I struggled to challenge my high ability children. And having spoken to Mary Jo, we've really analysed and narrowed down exactly what it is that we need to do.
It's really useful to actually write that down and plan it out and think how I'm going to approach certain issues.
It really helps to just give them time to reflect on what they're doing and what the changes they might want to make. People who have been stuck because they've been in the same school doing the same job for years and years and years and actually haven't become any more experienced.
They're completely unbiased, so they don't have any kind of preconceived ideas of certain situations or issues.
It's really helped me to, rather than think of lots of different issues that I may be having or struggling with, it's helped me to really focus down on one at a time.
There's a sudden magic key unlocking everybody's potential.
The coaching I did recently took place over a period of a few weeks in which I had some really protected time. It was an incredibly positive experience. I found myself looking forward to sessions. It was a real mixture of content. Sometimes I arrived knowing exactly what I wanted to talk about and some ideas about where I wanted to go with it. And on other occasions, you were very good in just listening to me ramble until I found what it was that I felt I needed to discuss. How do I bring a group of people with me on a journey that perhaps I'm not convinced by necessarily myself? How do I ensure that communication is really good between myself and the people that I work with and the people above? And also other things like making sure that my relationships with others were as good as they could be. I was so jaded, I think, for want of a better word, and you know, my attitude was very much just tell me what it is they want me to do, or tell me what it is that they need me to work on, and I will do that thing. And it became quite clear quite quickly that that wasn't at all what this was about. This was about me and my development. The fact that it was confidential meant that I could open up in a way that I wouldn't to a member of staff who was on site, I had, no fear that anything I said was going to be misconstrued anyway or used in any particular way. And actually I was kind of helped with things that I did want to be out in the open. I was helped quite significantly to make sure that they came out in the correct ways. I learned what was really important to me. I learned some quite specific skills. So for example, I learned how to disagree assertively, which I have held on to. One of the ladies in my year group has done a little bit of coaching as well, and so sometimes we do keep that little bit going when there is, something that arises or something that we need to sort.
I'm Chris Reid, I'm head teacher of Angel Road Infant School and Junior School, and we worked with Mary Jo on a coaching project to support middle leaders. The purpose of coaching at Angel Road was to allow middle leaders some time to reflect on their practice and to identify challenges that they faced and to develop their own solutions to those challenges. I was also involved in the coaching sessions, and my particular focus was looking at communication through the school and to look at the various ways that we could work more closely together as two schools. The coaching process was really helpful personally and for the school. It gave us real time to reflect on what we were doing and an environment where we could be really honest with ourselves about what needed to be done and to look at solutions and ways to address those problems. Coach brought a real insight to the sessions in that they asked questions that made us look at our practice, made us think about what we were doing, and allowed us, most importantly, us to come to our own solutions to those problems. I think it's really important that head teachers trust teachers to identify their own development points within the coaching system. The process is really centred upon individuals having that freedom and that confidentiality to look at their own practice and to work through the solutions themselves. I think it'd be really difficult to identify a single conversation that was useful. I think the process itself just gave me time to reflect on issues and to think through things. When I look at the changes we've made in the school since the coaching, nearly all of the most important ones around the communication systems and around our work together as two schools, I can track back to the ideas that we work through in the coaching sessions.
At Elsham High School, the core purpose of coaching is about helping individuals to really focus on their own professional development. So it's about dialogue, discussion, and about helping to tease out the areas that colleagues really need to improve.
One thing that we covered in our coaching sessions was delegation. I'm really busy at work with a full teaching timetable plus my head of house responsibilities. So often you're doing things so quickly all the time that you're trying to get as much done as possible.
Coaching was particularly helpful with planning difficult conversations, to go into those situations that I hadn't encountered before and to be able to establish personal and professional boundaries that really helped me to deal with any issues that cropped up.
We can definitely see a difference when people have been working with an external coach. There's a greater sense of confidence, sometimes in challenging meetings, a greater sense of openness and willingness to take on advice, or even to stand their ground and put forward their point of view with greater confidence.
There are various difficult aspects to leading a large team, and I think coaching has really enabled me to focus on those different aspects and find strategies to work my way through them.
Working with them on some of the things that they may need to develop as a leader in managing other people, managing difficult conversations, delegating, how to prioritise, are often things that are presented in our sessions.
If somebody was to ask me, should I be coached? Without a doubt, you've got to do it. It's so useful to be able to sit, reflect, and have objective, sensitive feedback.
In terms of return on our investment in external coaching, I think the most important thing for us is our school lives on the people that work within it. And if those people are happier, more confident in what they're doing, whether it be a leadership role, whether it be just dealing with their colleagues and work-life balance, I think it really helps us to be successful.
Do it.